I'm right back with another video. It's 6:07 p.m. It is December 27th. It is Friday evening, and I just took a shower. I am relaxed, and I'm sitting in the dark. I'm going to be turning on some light music. I noticed that keeping the lights out before I go to bed has helped me get to sleep, at a regular time. I mean, I usually toss and turn, go to the bathroom a bunch of times, but I need to settle into like a transition period. I can't go from like being stimulated with the lights on and then like expect to go to sleep, okay? So I'm experimenting with different ways of trying to relax, and this seems to be working. So anyway, um, I was thinking about, because this is like in the back of my mind, because it's weird to me. It's weird because I mean, obviously, I'm aware that what happened to me is criminal. It's a crime, okay? And the reason why it's a crime is because it prevents people from their basic rights. And what a lot of people think is normal is very criminal, and it's indeed criminal. And I was thinking about the inconsistencies, or the hypocrisy, I should say, in this. Like, I know that I like nobody seems to think that what these people did was wrong, and yet I'm being accused of being flirtatious because I'm wearing a wig to work. But I'm looking at these people who have lifestyles that, to me, are questionable, and yet I'm like being pointed out as like I have all this like I'm an immoral person, And what's moral and what is immoral is subjective, okay? Like in some ways it is, okay? If you're looking at it from a biblical standpoint, um, like for example, adultery or fornication is like an absolute no-no. It's considered a sin, okay? But some things are subjective, like sexual practices between husband and wife is, I think that's optional as long as it's consensual. Um, but um, and I also know that in the past there was, I think this was back in 2007 or 2008. I was reading about I was reading a lot of what they call Christian material, like Christianity, because I started going to some of the churches. I was experimenting with different religions, different churches. Okay, not religions, but I was going to churches, trying to find out if this whole thing was right for me, because it was obviously, I now see that my family was trying to like, you know encourage me to go to church through other people, okay, which I really don't appreciate that. But I kept thinking, okay, well, I noticed that people at work were doing it, and it seemed like it was kind of advancing their life. And I never liked the idea of prosperity preaching. That's me, okay. I don't particularly like it, but I know some people do. And so, I felt, okay, I'm going to start going to visit some of these churches. And, a lot of these people, some of these people, okay, there's a lot of broken people on all sectors of society. Like, some people, they gravitate towards, certain groups or whatever. And they do it for, not, like I said, not for higher spiritual attainment, not to develop godly ways, not to practice to be like Jesus and live similarly to Jesus, but they do it because, for monetary gain, because it's traditional and it's expected of them, and they don't really have any sense of spirituality at all. It's just because you're doing it because maybe there's peer pressure, whatever. Okay, so they some of these people who practice Christianity, and encourage chastity in their daughters. Okay, and then there were some people who, and not all Christians are like this. There are some people who take their faith seriously, and for those people, good for you. I'm clapping my hands and whatever. But there are the hypocrites. Okay, some people are hypocritical, and they might encourage their daughters to be uh, you know, um, uh, uh, virginal, or to withstand, be what's that word for it? Um, abstain from sex, you know, chastity, whatever. They encourage that, but sometimes in the families, they might have practiced incest. The brother and the father might have some sort of relationship that involves not vaginal entry, but they will have like anal entry or oral sex. But they have this, but to other people and to their kids, they're encouraging, you know, keeping their virginity, their vaginal virginity. Okay, and I hate talking about this kind of stuff, but you know, I'm trying to talk about what I'm trying to bring up is that I see that in some people, in some religious sects, okay, in some cults or whatever, people have dualistic thinking because they'll say one thing but they'll do another, and they don't see where these things contradict. And there's a lot of deep mind control that goes on in some of these like cults, okay? Like I said, not all Christians are like that. Not all people who go to churches are like that. But there is a lot of this, like, dualistic thinking or kind of like Manchurian candidates, mind control, whatever. So, you know, so when I think about this situation where, like, you know, I'm being persecuted because, you know, I wear a wig to work, I consider myself to be as polished as I can be on my budget. Okay? Because, like I said, you know, there are some women who have some bomb ass shoes. Okay? And I'm talking really nice shoes. Okay? Now, if you open my closet, you're going to see probably some Payless shoes I got a few years ago. You might see, and I mean, I used to have an expensive pair of boots, but that's the word, used to. Okay, there are a lot of women who have fine luxury clothes from nice department stores. Okay, there are some people who have those things, and there's nothing wrong with those things. Okay, I personally think that people should dress nice. They should, as nice as they can be. Okay, if not, because for the main reason is it is good for your mental well-being. Okay, and I resent the fact that, you know, I have people who want to force me into a marriage or a relationship, or at least use it as an excuse, okay? And then try to make it so, or make it out to seem like, well, you know, Maria is looking too, what I think is ridiculous, okay? Because I don't dress sexy, okay? Like I said, if I'm wearing slacks, that means my slacks are covering my body. I don't wear low-cut shirts or anything like that. I dress professional, okay? But let's just say, for example, I wanted to wear a tight mini skirt with a low neck, okay? And I mean, I was like vamping it up, okay? God knows I wouldn't wear something like that, okay? But if I did, if I wanted to vamp it up, okay, why would they have a problem with it? Why would these people have a problem with it if that was my objective? Okay, since these people don't really give a shit about me, because obviously both of these people, these so-called families, are in relationships with their mother, okay? So what is it? Obviously their mothers must look at me as some sort of either rival or whatever, or if it was, let's just say, for example, there was no incest involved in this. This was a serious mother and son type thing where she was looking at me as a prospective marriage mate for her son, okay? Now, if that was the case, and it's only based on financial reasons, like, you know, I don't believe that they were trying to marry me anyway, but they just wanted to get their hands on my shit. But if I was an actual prospective marriage mate, right, and it was only based on the sole purpose of financial security of somehow, like maybe they're going to sit there and get me a decent job, and then, you know, they'll make sure that, you know, my so-called husband would have a decent job so that we can be set, okay? So it's a financial arrangement. So the reason why is that they want me to devote my life, okay? They want me to devote my life to their marital structure system that I don't give a fuck about. I wouldn't, you know, so you're basically wanting me, no, and like I said, I don't dress slutty, okay? I don't dress slutty. Okay, I'm a very well-groomed woman when I go to work. Okay, and I'm sorry, but that's how you're supposed to be. Okay, I mean, I don't even wear high heels. I mean, I have like little Mary Jane pumps, and I try to dust those off when I do go to work. I mean, I don't work in a nice place, but I usually sprush them off with some shoe polish or whatever. I try to make sure they look presentable. Yeah, I'm old school like that. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is what these people are doing and what they're saying is very strange to me. Okay, and that's one of the reasons why it kind of twists a lot of things off in my brain, because it's corrupt. Okay, it's corrupt on so many levels, and it's wrong. And so, but anyway, I was stewing about that. When I was in the shower, I was like, some people don't have any understanding of what is right and what is wrong. Like I mentioned this before, okay? Some people don't know, and that's why there are some people who are into social reform, because they understand, such as myself. I don't like to think of myself as a social reformer, but I do believe that my ways of living are very civilized. Why? Because I respect the laws, I respect their boundaries, I respect other people's individual rights. I don't tread on them, I respect them, and I understand that people are supposed to have them. Okay, and I understand by understanding why gang stalking is wrong, why human trafficking is wrong. Okay, so I believe that my way of living is civilized. When you try to explain to somebody that what they're doing is wrong and they start getting angry, they don't have any respect for your human rights. Okay, they're uncivilized people, and there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that. So I mean, and I sometimes I think this is one of the heaviest burdens that a person can put on another person. What you're looking at is a scandal. This is a scandal. It is a scandal. Why? Because you are putting a person in a system that is based on slavery. Okay. Also, and it is considered to be sexual exploitation. I mean, there's so many things that are wrong with this picture. Okay, that other people might be thinking, oh, well, he's just trying, he's just trying to, like, make her settle down and, make sure that she has a husband, and to the outside people who really aren't thinking about this issue. Okay, so I'm hoping that this turns a light on into people's heads. Okay, and if the creator of this, my ex-brother-in-law, didn't think about what he was doing at the time, he was just maybe being stupid, because that's what he fucking is. That's what you're doing. Okay, I'm trying, there are certain things that, people do on a daily basis that are wrong. That's why, when I was talking about people in human resources and in those kind of positions, okay, I know people like to gossip and they do those sort of things, but there's certain reasons why things should be confidential. You know what I mean? And there's certain things that, if just by talking about them, like for example, when a person verifies your employment with the previous employer, right? And then they, instead of like talking about the skills that you did and the length of time that you were there and the things that are really important for you to function on that job, you start talking about, their marriage, blah, 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 blah. Okay, those are the sort of things that you can get sued for. Okay, why? Because it can put this whole system in process. You know what I mean? Where people are getting blacklisted, or certain things are being, prevented from them, or they're being discriminated against this one particular person. You know what I mean? And that's wrong. Okay, it's illegal. Okay, because it can end up in a very bad situation. And so I like to think of myself as a social reformer. I mean, I'm not the kind of person that needs to be on the back of a dollar bill. You don't need to be a monument to me, although I do think that I should get some sort of recognition for this bullshit. Because, I'm a black woman and I'm basically educating white people. Okay? On some of their own behaviors. Okay? So this is something that people should be imprinted in their mind in some way. Okay? So, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not somebody who, likes to be disagreeable or anything like that, okay? Unless, of course, you're treading on my shit. I'm dealing with the fact that, somebody manipulated my work, manipulated my relationships. This is a person with a serious problem. Okay, there's all kinds of information on, narcissistic behavior, this kind of sociopathic type behavior. It's sick. It's very sick. And this is one of the reasons why, and then it feeds on, it feeds itself because you get people who are weak, who don't think correctly. Some people get involved in this stuff because they're ignorant. They don't think about it. But when I think of, this is a person who was married to somebody who I thought I was married to, and they think I'm going to want to be their friend. Is it ignorance, or do they really not break apart this whole issue and seriously analyze it and think about what that really means? And why it should make sense, like a light should go off in your head, why it should make sense that I should fear you and be disgusted by you. It's like, wow. This is a scandal. It's scandalous. Okay, I'm not the one who is creating the scandal. The scandal is created by my ex-family. Okay? And watch the things that you do. Watch what people do. Really pay attention to what people say and what they do. Is there a contradiction in where, like, when people are pointing the finger at somebody who is dressed nice, okay, but when they're living a particular lifestyle that's kind of questionable themselves? Or did you guys forget to look at their questionable lifestyle because they have the same skin color as you? And you just take this for granted, like everything that they say or do is right, or you can, it's like, I know that people tend to listen to other people who look like them, okay? But sometimes you have to say, you know what, in this situation, is this really right? Okay, and I'm not, for diehard, deep-seated racist, you can't do that, okay? But for people who, they kind of have racist issues because they know deep down inside they shouldn't, but they kind of struggle with it. But when you really look at this situation, okay, right is fucking right. It's right, okay? These people invaded my space. What these people doing is, like, to me, an indecent proposal. Whether it's flat out fraud or it's whatever the case is, it's still indecent. Indecent if you're trying to get me into a relationship where all this, like, weird shit's going on that it's immoral in my opinion, or if it's like you're trying to get me involved in a relationship that's based on some sort of monetary connection. And that's like, it's not supposed to be that way. I have the right to look for work on my own. I have the right to find a job, but you're creating these little networks and saying, well, you got to stay in it and blah, 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 blah. It's wrong, and I know I've said this before, but, when somebody, to me, offering me a marriage proposal like that is like, seriously, that's like, I don't want to even think about that. That is literally, that's something that makes me very ill. Okay, very, very ill. Okay, and when I think about people who have sex with, and some people like having sex because they fucking like having sex. They just do. They like having sex with men, they like having sex with women, anything between. And, I'm not, like I said, I'm not judging you, okay? Because to me, and according to the laws of the United States of America, you are free to do whatever you want to do, okay? Unless, of course, you're violating the rights of other people. Okay, meaning that you're not hurting children, you're not, forcing this on children, you're consenting adults, you can do what you want to do. That's your business. It's your business, okay? But not everyone feels that same way about those particular activities. Okay, and obviously I don't. And so when somebody knows how you feel about those things, and they might be like, well, you just gotta try it, or maybe it's not that bad. Come on, keep pressuring you, and then putting in a system to really put pressure on you. If that's the case, okay, because I'm looking at this from different angles. Like, what is fuck their angle? Why are they involved in my shit? No matter how you slice it, I don't appreciate it. You know, whether it's for this particular reason, that particular, whatever the reason is, all the reasons that I can possibly consider, I'm not comfortable with. Okay, but the whole issue of, like, you know, sex in that manner is, you know, I for one am not attracted to that sort of thing. Okay, and if I was like, you know, the thought of being with an older woman, I'm sorry, I can't, you know, no, I just can't. No. So, you know, and really, it's just me, I can't do that, you know, and I know some people can have sex with people that they're not in love with, you know, they don't seem to mind. You know what I mean? And I know that, you know, I've been to, like, for example, when I used to visit some churches, you know, because when I was, like, testing the waters out, you know, sometimes I get these church activities and, like, okay, everyone rise and hug the person next to you. And you're like, oh my God, you know, are you serious? You really want me to get up and hug this person? I don't know this person, you know, and then, you know, I don't want somebody that I don't particularly want touching me. Let alone, like, you know, doing something that intimate, you know, maybe that's just how I am. You know what I mean? That's just how I am. I wish, you know, to God that, you know, love could be something sacred, something really beautiful. You know what I mean? Something that is not beyond perversion, beyond all of that. I wish it could be. You know what I mean? But it's not. And I fully understand that. It is not. Most people who go into that with that sort of idea and that sort of thinking, they're going to get disillusioned. They're going to be crushed really quick. Okay? Because that kind of stuff, that cute sugar cub shit doesn't exist. I love sugar cubs. They're super cute, right? But as far as those emotional exchanges where it's this beautiful sacred bond and it's all beautiful and romantic and no defilement, no weird twisted off shit, nothing weird like that. It's all great. You know, it's not like that. Okay, because it can get weird. And I'm to me, for some reason, something about the weirdness of all of those things my brain is just shut off to all of that. Because I feel like it's some people, sex is defiling in some ways. To me, okay? Probably because something must have happened to me maybe at one time in my life where it just made me sick. You know, and then some people look at sex as this animalistic activity to where, like, they don't even have to care about the person. And when I think about that, it's like, it seems like you're being exploited somehow. Like somebody's ass itches and they grab your hand to scratch their ass. That's pretty much how that makes me, I look at it. You know what I mean? And I know what slime people can be. You know what I mean? And I know how people are. People have terrible personalities. A lot of them do. That kind of stuff. And I'm just not, I don't want to deal with it. There's certain people I don't even want to eat a meal with. Yes, Maria's a little eccentric sometimes. Okay? But to me, I try to keep things sacred. Like, if I want to like somebody, you know, consider it a fucking honor if I invite you out to lunch. Seriously. If I invite you out to lunch or I invite you to my home, consider that an honor. Because you know what? I really don't like dealing with people's bullshit. I really don't. You know what I mean? And I guess in this world, I know that sincerity and higher morals are a very rare thing. And I try to protect myself from, you know, sociopaths and you know, narcissistic people and that sort of abuse. You know, and even though, you know, I'm in my own home or whatever, like I was here in Bakersfield minding my own business, twiddling my thumbs, you know, going to work and whatever. And then the whole Facebook thing happened, and then boom, you know, invade my space. Actually, you know, the Facebook thing actually happened while I was living in Palmdale, okay? Because that was 2008, okay? But still, when I first moved back to Bakersfield in 2009, something was going on. I didn't quite figure it out. But something was going on. So this has been going on for a very, very long time. Okay, so I'm finally waking up to what this stuff was. Okay, and really it makes me literally want to throw up. It makes me want to throw up. It does. You know, because you don't know what you're inviting into your house. You know, when you get one of your relatives get married, you don't know what you're inviting into your house. Now, I know that my dad had issues with Jim when when my sister brought him home. And you know what? I didn't think too deeply about it because I didn't know. I mean, I knew that it was kind of a bad thing to be discharged from the military, but still, I really didn't judge him like that because I was still kind of young. I didn't know what certain things meant, and I just didn't think to judge him. Okay, I didn't. I knew he'd kind of brag a little bit. He thought highly of himself. You know, he liked to share stories about himself. And you know, like if whatever you had, he had something better. You know, he was known for that. Everyone knew him like that, okay? But I had no idea that this man was this abusive. Like this, he even had it in him. I knew that he would get into little arguments and disagreements with my ex-sister who was married to, but I never realized that he was a fucking monster. I had no idea that he had no, sense of what's right, what's wrong, that he could be so abusive and dehumanizing to a human being. I had no idea. And you know, the weird part is, I remember I was working at a convalescent hospital many years ago, okay? Many years ago. I think it was 1990, maybe 1990. It was the year that Sammy Davis Jr. died. Maybe it was 1990. Whatever. Okay. But anyway, I remember there was this lady, and she knew my ex-brother-in-law, and she knew my sister. She knew these two people, this couple. Okay. She knew who they were, and she was asking me questions. She kept asking me questions about him, and I kept thinking, why are you so fascinated with him? Now this one was like, she was from Belize. Okay. And she just thought it was, you know, she didn't have an issue with them being an interracial married couple. But she just kept telling me that he was a sick man. And I kept thinking, what do you mean he's a sick man? You know, I didn't really know him that well. I knew that we had the little issue. He talked about him going to church, didn't like me going to the Jehovah's Witness thing. But I didn't know what she meant. Okay? And now, like I said, all this shit is coming back to me now. And it's starting to make sense. She saw something in him that I didn't see. That this man's fucking crazy. It's crazy how things work out. But a lot of things are starting to make sense to me. And I'm shocked. I'm very shocked, you know. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. And I've got a lot of things I need to take care of tomorrow. So I hope you all have a good evening. I'll be back with another one later. Bye-bye.